The colony ship Second Dawn had been orbiting the fringe world of Talvith, 9 for 3 months when the Eshkur delegation finally agreed to a joint settlement. Humanity was young among the stars, barely a century into interstellar travel, and the galactic community treated them the way an old dog treats an eager puppy, with tolerance, condescension, and the occasional cruel joke. Alex Reyes hadn't wanted this posting. As the colony's chief liaison officer, he spent most of his days smoothing over misunderstandings between human settlers and the 6 alien species sharing the frontier settlement of New Meridian. The Eshkur were reptilian, 3 meters tall, with a caste system so rigid it made feudal Japan look egalitarian. They considered humans to be a soft species, emotional, weak, sentimental. They said it to his face, usually while smiling with too many teeth. Emma Reyes, his younger sister and the settlement's primary school teacher, had a different opinion of the Eshkur. She thought they were fascinating, actually. She'd spent hours studying their language, their art, their strange reverence for silence. She believed peace was possible. She believed almost anything was possible, which was either her greatest strength or the reason Alex constantly worried about her. It was a Tuesday morning, colony time, which nobody could ever agree on, but everyone used anyway, when the first alarm went off. Emma had 12 children in her care that morning, ages 5 to 9, gathered in the settlement's community dome for a lesson on local plant life. The dome's outer wall, transparent alloy rated for micrometeorite impacts, was not rated for what happened next. An Eshkur enforcement cruiser, uninvited and unannounced, descended over the settlement and opened a breach directly into the dome's east wing. 3 Eshkur soldiers walked through the smoking hole like they owned the ground beneath them. Their leader, a broad-shouldered enforcer named Vesic Thorn, informed the terrified teacher that human colonists had allegedly violated a mineral rights treaty 3 sectors away, and that compensation would be extracted. Emma didn't know yet that compensation meant hostages. She put herself between the soldiers and the children. It didn't matter. Vesic's clawed hand swept her aside like she weighed nothing, and 2 of the smaller children, a boy named Toby and a girl named Priya, were seized and dragged toward the breach. Emma's wrist fractured against the floor. She screamed for the children, screamed for anyone, and kept screaming even as blood ran into her eye from a gash on her scalp. The Eshkur left as fast as they'd come, cruiser lifting off with 2 human children zip-tied in its cargo hold, off to be used as leverage in a dispute those children had never heard of. Alex was in a treaty negotiation 3 buildings away when the alert hit his comm. He didn't remember standing up. He didn't remember the walk to the dome. He remembered Emma's face, pale, shaking, one arm hanging wrong, and the 2 empty chairs where Toby and Priya used to sit, still warm. They took them, Emma said. Her voice didn't sound like hers. They took them, Alex. Something in Alex went very quiet. Not calm. Quiet the way the ocean goes quiet before it pulls back from the shore, right before the wave comes in. He opened a channel to Fleet Command. His voice, when it came out, was flat and even. This is Liaison Officer Alex Reyes, New Meridian Colony. I am invoking Article 12. Children of Earth have been abducted by Eshkur military forces. I want every asset in this sector redirected to New Meridian, and I want it in the next 6 hours. The dispatcher on the other end started to explain protocol, timelines, the standard 48-hour diplomatic notice period. You have 6 hours, Alex said, or I stop waiting for you. What the wider galaxy had never quite understood about humanity was this. Most species out among the stars had evolved past a certain kind of violence. They fought wars over resources, over territory, over ancient grudges passed down like heirlooms. But almost none of them fought wars over their young. Not really. Not with the totality that humans did, because most spacefaring species didn't raise their young the way humans did. Many species laid eggs and forgot them. Some birthed hundreds and lost most. Evolution had, for them, made child loss a manageable, almost bureaucratic tragedy. Humans were different. Humans were mammals who had clawed their way up through ice ages and famines and predators twice their size by forming small, ferocious units that protected their children above all else, above the tribe, above their own lives. It was written so deep into human bones that no amount of civilization had bred it out. It had simply gone dormant, waiting. Alex Reyes was about to remind an entire star system why that instinct had never actually gone away. Within 4 hours, the human strike cruiser point of no return dropped out of FTL at the edge of Ashkur-controlled space. It was not, technically, a warship. Treaty restrictions kept humanity's border fleet modest, half-armed, mostly for show. But Alex had spent 3 years learning exactly how far, mostly for show, could be stretched when nobody expected it to actually fire. He stood on the bridge, Emma's voice patched through from the medical bay where she refused to stop coordinating, one arm in a sling and the other hand clenched into a fist. Ashkur Fleet Command, Alex said, broadcasting on every channel the Ashkur military used. You have 2 human children aboard Enforcement Cruiser Designation Thorn 7. You will release them within the hour, unharmed, or I promise you, this will not end the way you think it ends. The Ashkur Grand Marshal, a scaled old warrior named Keseth Dral, answered with something close to amusement. You threaten an empire with 1 unarmed cruiser and a diplomat's temper, human? We have fought wars for 1,000 years. We do not fear soft species. I'm not a soft species today, Alex said quietly. Today I'm a father who never got to be one, standing in for every parent on that colony. You hurt human children. That means you didn't just make an enemy of 2 families. You made an enemy of every mother, every father, every teacher, every soldier humanity has ever produced, and we don't stop. That's the thing you don't understand about us. Every other species out here learned to calculate the cost of a grudge. We never did. We just carry it, forever, and we get creative. He let that hang in the silence of open comms. Release the children, Alex said. Or I promise you, Marshall, the next generation of your species will study what happens when you touch ours. And it won't be a treaty violation. It'll be a lesson. Keseth Dral had seen empires fall. He had seen species wiped from star charts by weapons older than agriculture. He had never, in 3 centuries of service, heard a diplomat threaten total extinction in the same calm voice used to order tea. That was what unsettled him. Not the words. The absolute certainty behind them. He checked the reports flooding in from his own analysts. Historical data on humanity's wars. Their refusal to surrender even against impossible odds. The strange statistical fact that human civilizations, when their children were threatened, showed 0 recorded instances of backing down. Not once, not ever. Across their entire violent, glorious, terrifying history. Dral made his decision in under a minute. Release them, he ordered. Return the children. And send Reyes my personal apology. Toby and Priya came home 3 hours later, frightened but unharmed, delivered by an Ashkur shuttle that left the moment its cargo was clear. Emma was waiting at the dock, arm in a cast, tears streaming freely as she gathered both children into a hug that nearly toppled all 3 of them. Alex stood a few steps back, watching his sister hold on to the children like she'd never let go again. Later, the Ashkur filed a formal apology through diplomatic channels, along with a treaty amendment specifically prohibiting any action against human minors, the first such clause any species had ever demanded be written into interstellar law. Word spread fast across the sector. Other species began quietly amending their own protocols too. Nobody wanted to test whether humanity's strange, fierce devotion to its young was diplomatic theater or something else entirely. Emma asked Alex, that night, if he'd really meant it. The threat, the promise of a species-ending war. Alex thought about the 2 empty chairs in her classroom, about her blood on the dome floor, about children who should never have had to be brave. Every word, he said. Emma didn't argue. She just held his hand, and for the first time in 3 months, New Meridian slept peacefully under its borrowed sky.